to our March Board of Directors meeting. I wanted to acknowledge that Monica Guzman has been invited to this meeting and is present. Patty Christ will be presiding at this meeting as our one attending officer. And I will turn it over to Patty.
All right, great. Thanks, Sandy. Should we just go ahead and can we pull up the agenda and just get started? I know you have a full agenda, right?
Yes, yes. Mike, can you share that? Oh, hello, Frank. Oh, there.
I think they need to call to order, right?
We need the agenda back. Thank you.
All right, I think we're ready to, I think we're recording, so just call the meeting to order. And I think, let's see. We have here Vince, Mayor, Frank, and welcome Monica, Simone. And I think I saw Donna in the room. And anybody else there in the room?
Max Ronquillo.
Max, okay, all right, okay. So I think we have a quorum, so we can go ahead and get started. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at the meeting minutes that Michael sent out for November and February?
Okay.
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion on approving the minutes?
I'll make a motion. I make a motion to approve the November and February minutes subject to correction, but I'd like to point out that when you take a look at the two minutes for those two different meetings, the format is not consistent. And so, you know, Executive Director, I'm not sure who you have doing the minutes, but we need to kind of be standard in our format. More importantly, when these minutes are approved, there should be a signature line at the end of the minutes so that once they're approved, they're actually signed by, typically the chair and the board secretary, and of course, the executive director, saying that that indicates that those minutes were approved, because these are auditable documents.
Thank you for that, Mayor. I think Michael can confirm that that is the procedure we're following now, and he's going to be taking on the minutes. Prior to that, we were rotating. So thank you for that.
Just need to follow a format and make sure it's consistent.
Great. Thank you. I think Simone maybe seconded the motion.
Great.
All in favor?
No,
No?
I didn't.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I just
Oh, okay.
maybe someone else did.
Donna.
Donna, thanks, Donna. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so the minutes have been approved. We can go on now to the financial report.
That's you.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to.
Oh.
Can you turn it around, Mike?
Are we just waiting for the screen to be shared?
Okay, going through the financial report, just to let you know, there's not much of a change in the account, especially on the local funds. We did move money out from 230 to 220 for the trip for Ms. Monica Guzman and Maria Barcenas. So that's available of 247.88. That's on the 220 category, which is in the top, on the top line there. As far as 230, we still have some money that we're still working on to do some quotes to get that moving, and also to do some expenditures on the account. So these funds that you see, especially on 230, 240, 250, and 290, and 363, those are existing, especially we're trying to move money around. So we're looking at purchasing vehicle, which we're gonna add a category code, which is 450. That's gonna, I'm working on that right now. So we're trying to use some money to move out of 290 to purchase a vehicle. So I do have a quote on that. And so I'm working on getting that quote done and trying to do a requisition to purchase a vehicle, and all other stuff that we have in the procurement plan that we're trying to use the funds in that category, object category. So right now, we're still in the works with it. We're going, little at a time, but we're trying to make it as, as quickly as possible before the end of the fiscal year. So right now, we are moving forward to getting things, getting quotes so we can purchase some items out of the categories that we have.
Can you just explain what 20, 30,
Okay, oh, okay,
40,
sure.
50,
Okay,
90?
so the first line, which is the 5100 A23 4000 GA 006220, that's travel. Okay, and then
230 is.
yes, 230 is contractual. 233 is lease, rent and lease account. 240 is supplies. 250 is equipment. 290 is miscellaneous. 363 is utilities, telephone, that sort of stuff. 450 would be the contract, like, I don't know what it was, capped, 450, not equipment. It's capital outlay and so forth. I believe that's what it was. I may have to check that real quick, but yeah, so that's what it is right there. And this are the local funds that we have available. So right now, we don't have anything on 450 that was to purchase vehicle. So that money from 290 would go to the 450, so we can purchase a vehicle for CAHA's use. I mean, it's long overdue, but we're trying our very best to try to get some money to purchase a vehicle. So that's in the works right now. Any questions again, Mr. Okay?
Was it a transport vehicle or equipment vehicle or?
It's just a regular full size van or the full size van
Okay,
or
okay.
minivan. So it's to accommodate the use for around, and then usually like Warren has the art bank, or we have some workshops that we need to, to use a vehicle for. So that's where we will be using the vehicle, not just for the art bank, but for any other use with doing the barrel run, going to, governor's office or on ITC to payroll and so forth. So anything to do with the office, that's what we're gonna be using it. And then the gas will be another account that we might be using. So they will give us that account number, which is probably 230, where they're gonna use that money to take up funds out of that account to use for the vehicle for fuel. So we're trying our best. I did already spoke to the staff to give me what they need, especially like in office supplies. So we do not have much, but we're trying to get as much as we can. So I'm getting feedback from staff. I do have already some quotes that I requested. So I'm working on that to put together, so that way we can start our request for to prepare requisition. Right now, GSA does not have any supplies at all, except papers. They're out, completely out. Yeah, so we're gonna have to go outsource to outside vendors.
Okay, I think the mayor has a question. I see a hand has
Okay.
been raised.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Two questions. You know, and going through the budget that was attached to the documents that Mike had sent out, I was looking at the 2023 fiscal year appropriation or the budget that was submitted, and there was no funds authorized for travel under the government appropriated funds. How do we move $7,000 into this category when no appropriations was given on the local funds in for FY 2023?
Okay, with the, maybe Sandy, you wanna bring that, or? what do you want?
Actually, BBMR provided research for the use of travel funds, and one of the categories was if a representative of our agency was asked to attend a required meeting of an entity that we belong to, then that was a justifiable travel expense. And so what this refers to is the travel for our participation in FestPac. And so that became a justifiable expense.
But we've already expended $6,752 of that. And you're saying that fund, those travel funds were specifically for travel to address our participation in FestPac. So those meetings were FestPac meetings?
Yes, they were.
Okay, and then the other thing is that you said you're moving this, or if not all of it, but funds from category 290 to 450. So 290 is contractual, correct?
No, 290 is miscellaneous, 230 is,
Miscellaneous.
230 is contractual.
So when we submitted our budget, I didn't see a miscellaneous category either of that amount.
Okay, so
Sure.
what happens when they gave us the local funding? They provided like 50,000 for 230, 50,000 for 240, 50,000 for 250, 50,000 or 290, I'm sorry, is 54,000, and then they gave us 7,000 for telephone and utilities. So I believe that was supposed to be telephone. So that's what they provided us with BBMR. So they gave us that funding, and that's what we're using is that funds that was loaded up by BBMR.
Yeah.
So
but
I
if
mean,
could-
I guess I guess the question is are you saying that we have excess funds in those other categories that we don't need them, and so we can move them into 450 to buy a vehicle?
So
What had happened is that there's no category for 50. So what I'm doing is reprogramming funds from 290, which is miscellaneous, to create an object class of 450, which is there right now, to move
Mhm.
money there to purchase a vehicle. So the remaining of that, of 290, the remaining of, let's say, 40,000, 14,754 might go up to 230, which is contractual, because Sandy had brought some, she did a procurement plan. I'm not too sure if that's one of the agenda, part of the brochures that she gave out. But if, what we do is, whatever she has listed that what she wants to purchase or spend, we're gonna move that money out into that category. So talking to BBMR, in order for them to move the monies around, we need to have a plan, like the vehicle for once. We're purchasing a vehicle, so we need to have a plan that we're gonna move money of that 40,000 for a vehicle. So and then we move the money of the remaining to whichever object class. So right now, I have not moved, we have moved, we tried to move money, but it was returned because BBMR wanted like a procurement plan. I mean, what are we?
Justification.
Yeah, justification, there you go, I'm sorry. So that's what they wanted to see in order for them to move the money. So that's what we're doing right now. That's why like there's money, there's like, let's say 3,000 in supplies, 240. So we're gonna try and get out money, well, what we need, or what Sandy had did suggested what we're gonna spend and how much we're gonna spend. Then the remaining will be moved to another object class. So.
Understood. So I guess the point, the bottom line is that what we plan on spending in the various categories is less than, or what we are actually intending to spend is less than what was budgeted. So you're taking that excess and trying to lump sum it into and doing a modification to bring it into this 450 category so that we can buy a vehicle. And so I guess the bottom line question is anything being sacrificed by moving those monies around? Is supplies being sacrificed? Are we not gonna have enough for rent or utilities, et cetera, or we're gonna have to go in and ask for additional funding from the legislature because we move things around and we're moving to buy a vehicle, which we didn't plan for FY 2023.
We did, put that, the vehicle on the ARP, but instead so instead of Sandy had mentioned that we're gonna use the 290 and get out money. Because what she had in her procurement plan is that she wants to purchase a vehicle on this local match, which is the local account. So this is what they gave us. I believe we could work with these money that are given to us, and that we should be a shortage of what we need, because in what it is showing that they gave us like 50,000 for each category on the 230, 240, 250, 290. What happens is that there's 233, which is a rent, that's on the federal account. So that's already taken care of for the whole for the entire fiscal year. What is showing on the 233 is to add an office space for one of the staff and our bank. So that's why that is there, is because Sandy had requested that we put at least 15,000 into that account to do a quote, a bid for an office space for Mr. Regis, because Mr. Regis is using our conference room right now. So
Okay. Understood. Okay, we can move on. I just want to make sure nothing's being sacrificed.
I hope I answered your question, sir.
You did. I like I said, I just want to make sure that, typically, at least for the Mayor's Council of Guam, when we budget for funds, I mean, we're budgeting for, bare bones. And when we move things around, I have to make a conscious decision that I'm gonna have to sacrifice, say, fuel, for repair parts that were unexpected expenses. And so, we have a little bit more flexible budget with CAHA, which of course I'm not accustomed to. The last 14 years I've been living paycheck to paycheck.
She was referring to this extra rent account, and because it's halfway through our fiscal year and we haven't been able to secure that space, we had extra funding that we could then reprogram to the travel. So to answer your question, no, we won't be short of any planned funding.
Okay, good, thank you.
Welcome.
So moving on to the federal account, which is fiscal year 23, there's nothing much changes there except for the salaries and benefits. And also the rent is already been done where the requisition for the entire fiscal year is already there. So it's just on a monthly to month basis where invoices come in and then it just goes straight to the PO. So that's what it is right now. So there's other than that, everything else is good. There's, like I said, there's no changes as far as that. It's only salaries and benefits on that fiscal year.
Sorry, I want to go back to the mayor's comment. I was talking, but I had myself on mute. On the vehicle, it does seem that 40,000 is a lot of excess cash to have available. And Sandy, I think I heard you said that that was because of rent, but was it really that much that we have 40,000 of excess cash?
I'm sorry, that isn't what the case is. So to reiterate what Lily was explaining, we do have a procurement plan. I believe I provided it at the board retreat for your review. And in that procurement plan, based on that, we were approved the overmatch funds, that last account that we just looked at. However, when they funded it, they didn't put it in the categories that we asked for. It's for us to move around as needed. And so what you see in those categories does not reflect the procurement plan. It just reflects the bulk of monies that we will then have to move according to the procurement plan as we justify those expenses. For example, have the correct bidding process for our car, and then we can go forward and move it into the account for the vehicle and then spend it. So it isn't excess. Am I understanding what you're saying?
But it just seems like that's a lot of money that is just kind of free floating out there. Like the mayor said, typically, the budgets are pretty firm and you're scraping for every penny you have. I'm just surprised that there's kind of this extra money that's available for a new vehicle.
Well, maybe next meeting, I suggest we look at the procurement plan and you'll see that everything is accounted for. A vehicle is really a requirement for CAHA because among other things, we're in charge of the art bank. And so every year we've got to transport art, for example, to different government offices, not to mention our events and so forth. So only recently we moved our van was declared unusable. And so that's why it was approved that we get a new vehicle in the procurement plan.
Sandy, I don't think there's any argument that CAHA needs a vehicle, but like most agencies, I mean, that's a large purchase. So when we purchase new vehicles, that's actually part of the budget request that we submit. And so, Patty's correct. When we have that kind of money there, available to purchase a vehicle, but it wasn't an identified item in the budget submission. I'm just concerned that BBMR will look and says, well, are they truly padding their budget submissions? And maybe we need to give them less than what they typically ask. But yeah, CAHA's need for a vehicle, I think, goes undisputed.
Right. Yep. And I don't know, the laws might be very specific on this. I don't know whether there are any possible used vehicles out there that would meet the need too. I think you said you had a vehicle that you can't use. I don't know whether that can be used as a trade-in or whether you can consider a used van.
So going to what you just mentioned about the used vehicle, I did check with General Service Agency, the GSA office down at PD. They do not purchase used vehicle, because Sally did bring that up at one point, that why don't we try getting a used vehicle? And according to GSA, they said they are not, it's not a practice for them to purchase a used vehicle. So we just have to go get a quote, do a market research for a vehicle, and looking at like what we're trying to get. That's the cheapest so far that we got. Some are going up to like 50 grand, which we're not asking for any luxury stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say a minivan.
Yes, I
40,000 is not a whole lot. I
Yeah.
don't know. I haven't, I had a minivan and we used them in our business.
Yeah.
And That's not a lot, so,
So we did try, and I've been going, doing a research to other, auto, deals, and that's what the goal, that's about 40,000 is what we have. That I have a quote on. So yes, so that's, as far as, used vehicle, it's not allowed, with the government of Guam.
do you actually have quotes? I mean, are we actually
Yes.
going out? You have 3 quotes.
I'm working right now with one, or actually 2 quotes right now. So the cheapest one I got was, one of them, I'm just gonna put it together. And then I'm working already, I have most of my stuff, together. So I'm just doing the market, going down to get the listing of what I need to put together and so forth. So, and there will be an ad to, for, the dealers to bid on it. So
Right.
it's gonna be in a newspaper, so that's what I'm also putting in for the ad.
Okay.
So, yes, it's in the works. I've been working with, a salesman that's in charge of that, and I was just talking to GSA, and according to the gentleman that handling these, or like a second command or something, he mentioned that he reached out to, the dealers to ask them what vehicle they have available here on island, instead of waiting for 3 months or so, is to get that vehicle that you have right here on island, so that way we can purchase it. So right now, talking to the gentleman that I'm working with, he mentioned that there is a vehicle. So, so that's why I'm trying to work with them. And then I also inform him, I said, you need to inform GSA, because they're asking, they're doing, they're going out, calling out all the dealers to make sure that whatever vehicles you have, trucks, vans, or minivans, big vans or whatever, that you provide them, so that way, if I go in, at least that vehicle is there, so they can, let them know that, okay, maybe that she might end up getting that, so, you know, so that's what we're doing, and I'm doing all the specs and so forth. So, yes, so, I did reach out already, and I'm working with them to try and get it, and it's gonna take about a month or 2 to, get it done. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I think we'll see how things unfold. So yeah, let's, I think we should just keep going.
Okay, yep, all right.
Okay. So, going through that account, that's what it is. There's no changes as far as anything else on this particular account, which is a federal account, the FY23 accounts. Okay, Mike? So the 21 is still a continuation. So there's nothing much. I know Mayor Gobi mentioned that let's try, or I'm not sure, Mayor Gobi or the Chairman, Francis Guerrero mentioned at one, a meeting prior, that we should use the leftover money that we have available in the 21 account. So that's what also we're trying to do, is look at the funds that we have to work on it. So there's not really much in this account. So, yeah, so, we're trying to use up all the account, the money in the account, so that way we can close that account off. Okay, Mike? This is the same thing with the 22 and the 21. We're trying to move the money out so that way we can use it up. And most of it is just on like on salaries and benefits, so we can't really touch that. But as far as the other account, which is 230, which is contractual, there is a few money in there and so far. So yeah, so that's basically it. So we're trying to use the 22 and 21 and 22 account fiscal year to do what we can do to purchase and get those things closed up for the fiscal year. We have up to September 30th, 2023 to use all the funds up. That was our extension. Okay, Mike? for the Guam territorial band, they have not submitted any invoices for what they have done. So they do submit email saying they don't have anything for the month. So right now, there's nothing much. The last time they had was like that 2,000, is it 2,092? I'm sorry, my eyes are, I don't have my glasses with me, but yeah, so that's the only expenditures that we have done with them. 2,052. So that's the only expenditures that we have with them current right now. Okay, Mike. With the ARP, the funds we're using right now are for salaries and benefits. We did at one point use the money on 250, which is equipment to purchase some of the art galleries equipment. That was for last fiscal year, so that's the only thing that we have spent on that particular object class. And like I said, the salary and benefits is the only one that we're using so far right now. Any questions?
Does that, Lily, does that have an expiration date?
This one, I believe expires next year.
Okay,
Yeah, for the ARP, I believe it expires next year. Don't quote me on the exact date, but I believe, I'm not too sure if it's next fiscal year. So I have to check on it one more time, but if anything, I can get back to you as far as the date is concerned on the next meeting if you want.
okay. Any questions on the financial report? Anything else? Okay, moving on to Sandy's report.
Thank you, Penny. To the CAHA board, I want to thank you once again for your time to attend our monthly meeting. Several of you were able to attend our mini board retreat in January, where we talked in detail about programs and plans. So for this month, I wanted to share our top 3 priorities for the remainder of this year in an effort to focus our energies as a board and a staff. So first, I wanted to talk about the establishment of the National Indigenous Performing Arts Initiative to become a signature program of CAHA. And this would be consistent with the intent of our organizing legislation. According to our legislation, the purpose of CAHA's revolving fund includes creating, and this is a quote, off-island education, training, and cultural enhancement funding. The program goals being educational and performing arts enhancement opportunities for island residents progressively each year as more organizations, schools, and individuals with interest in this performing arts venture beyond Guam shores to stage performances, for invitational events, or to engage in competitions not offered locally. The legislature finds that such participation is beneficial in the development of performing arts skills, for broadening the education of resident participants, and for encouraging youth involvement and leadership activities that promote healthy, drug-free lifestyles. Such off-island events, however attractive or beneficial they may be, are often not within the financial reach of eligible participants, given the cost of airfare and accommodations. The legislature recognizes the benefits of such events, including arts and humanities competitions, international cultural festivals and exchanges, the Junior Statesman's Foundation, the National Science Fair, the Mock Trial, the Forensic League, and Close-Up, among others, and is compelled to protect the opportunities they present by extending financial support. Any off-island event in which performances of organizations or individuals from Guam are featured generates favorable attention to the island and promotes efforts to boost the island's visitor rates. Youth should be given preference in the awarding of grants. And I'll provide this to the board, and it quotes the legislation. And I also gave you a link to the entire CAHA legislation, the current. So important to note that the revenue source for these activities was slated to be $200,000 a year as provided by the Healthy Futures Fund, but this was rescinded in 2019. The second goal is to fully activate our Percent for the Arts program. And as we've discussed in prior meetings, the law was subject to additions to the extent that the existing policies are not able to be applied to them. It has been the effort of previous directors to refine these procedures, and is my goal to complete them in the next 3 months. After this time, the procedures will be subject to a public hearing and then confirmed by the legislature before they can be put into place. So the goal is to have this done by the end of the calendar year, that entire process. Until that happens, we are unable to use the funds in the Percent for the Arts account, with one exception, that being FESTAC, as stated in the legislation. But once this is in place, it will enable CAHA the funding to fully engage programs, for example, its Art Bank program, where the funds can be used to repair existing art and purchase new art. And number 3, related to this, is to create an endowment with a portion of the Percent the Arts funds that have built up. In the next month, I will talk to both PETA and the University of Guam Foundation about what I understand are options for them to oversee this endowment. With this endowment, CAHA could earn interest as an additional revenue source, especially in light of the rescission of the Healthy Futures Fund, intended to support, quoting the law, educational and performing arts enhancement opportunities. So looking at today's meeting agenda, I hope the board will recognize that these agenda items directly relate to these efforts. And so I wanted to put to the board that the board can be of assistance in meeting these goals in significant ways. I've outlined 4. 1, to support NEPA activities in their areas of influence, to include attending and promoting events, obtaining sponsors, providing recognition for the initiative. And initially, the board can provide, I suggest, a resolution recognizing NEPA, which could then be recognized through our legislative chair, Senator Barnett, who has already agreed to do so. Number 2, to offer time or solicit others' expertise to work with the staff to complete the Percent for the Arts procedures. Once the procedures are complete, we will need to communicate with legislators on the intent and importance of this initiative in light of the intent of CAHA's organizing legislation. 3, to offer time or solicit others' expertise to work with the staff to get the necessary information or best set up an endowment fund or other financial instrument to enhance our funding. And 4, to offer time or solicit others' expertise to fine-tune the procedures around CAHA's revolving fund so that it may be used as intended to expand, quoting the legislation, educational and performing arts enhancement opportunities. So those are the goals. And to move on to another topic, I just wanted to recognize that last month, our member and chair, Francis Guerrero, resigned at the conclusion of his 4-year term due to his extensive commitments. And today, 3 of the 8 existing board members have terms that will expire at the end of the month. Patricia Price, who's presiding today, will not be extending to another term due to her impending move. Simone Bollinger and Rolando Zepeda have been asked to extend for another 4-year term. And Ms. Moncas Guzman, former member and chair of CAHA, has been nominated by the governor and is awaiting her confirmation. So later in today's agenda, in new business, is an item election of new board members. And I would like to suggest that although it's necessary for the board to vote for new officers to the board at this time, that these officers be termed interim until the new nominees and extended term board members are confirmed. Also, under new business is the item board resolution. And I'd like to propose that number 1, in light of the services of Francis Guerrero as CAHA's board chair, that CAHA provide a board resolution to commend Mr. Guerrero for his service. And number two, that the board consider providing a resolution that adopts the NEPA initiative as a signature CAHA program. So I thank you for your consideration for those. And with that, I'll conclude my executive director's report. Thank you. And I welcome any questions or clarifications that you need.
Yeah, I do have a question about, we had a discussion in our board retreat about the foundation. And I'm gonna need some more information. There's fees associated with that, and it just puts another layer between us and I think at this time, I think the concentration is and should be getting the percent for the arts done, get it into the legislature before we start. Already, we've been talking about this since January. We've got money sitting in the bank that we could be having in a CD or something that could be earning interest now. And now we're gonna be talking about this, you know, so I'd like to see some action on that. Before we start, and I'd like to know the fees and why do we need to go to another entity to manage our money?
So let me clarify, we're not talking about forming a foundation. In my research, I found that we'd avoid that by going directly to entities like GIDA and the UOG Foundation. And I think it's worth exploring what they can do. That was recommended to me, that they can oversee a fund that becomes an endowment. And we won't have to have a foundation.
Okay, but I think in your wording, you said foundation, go to the foundation. So, yeah.
No,
there's-
a UOG endowment foundation, maybe.
Okay, so to me, yeah, just hearing about it, I'd like to see some stuff written down. And if you're being advised, then who's advising you? And, you know, when do we kind of get to weigh in on it? Because, you know, we did discuss this at our board retreat, which was in January, right? Here we are at the end of March. And I don't think there's been any progress on the writing of the percent rules, right?
No, not much.
Okay, well, that was what we asked and it's gonna take, from what I understand, 4.5 to 6 months to get that through the process. So if you don't get it done till the end of the year, then we're looking at what, early next year? If you don't get the percent rules and regs written, then we're looking until early next year to start on our 4 months, and then it just kind of seems, I kind of think we're like on the treadmill here. So,
Okay, can I respond?
yeah.
I think with my report, what I was trying to impart was I did hear you. I did put some timelines on that. So I said within the next 3 months to get the procedures in place. And then we would have until the end of the year for the process through the legislation. And have it in place.
So we're April, May, and June, and you're planning on having it to the legislature in July. But there's a lot of travel in here too. So who's writing this? Are you having a committee get together and help you write it?
There was a sample that was draft that was shared by email to all of us. It's bare bones right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we have.
Max, you said that there was a draft policy and procedure for the percent for the arts that was sent out via email?
Yeah, I got it from Mike. I got it from Mike.
I don't think I
When
got
was-
it.
I don't think I got it.
Mike, am I mistaken or was I dreaming?
Sorry, what are we looking for?
It's a
Percent.
draft percent for the arts policy and procedures.
Oh, yeah, it's coming up on the agenda. We just gotta follow the agenda.
No,
But yes, it was sent out to everybody. Same email as all the other documents.
Okay, can you give me the date of that? Because
21st March.
Oh, today.
Oh, sorry, 20th March.
Well, I
That's
didn't-
arts and public buildings. I saw that.
That's the one.
That's the one
That's
that
arts
Max
and
is talking
public-
about.
Oh, yeah, but that's not specific to percent for the arts. This is arts and public building. This is the art bank.
No, it's the same.
This is the percent for the arts draft policy.
Arts in public buildings, Max, is the art bank. That's the art bank. Percent for the arts is something totally different.
Mayor, the arts and public buildings is the enabling legislation for the percent for the arts. So this document is the draft policies and procedures for disbursement.
I thought this was the art bank, not the percent for the arts. Yeah,
So on page 3, you should start. There's some pages missing, but page 3 is the start of the. So like it says here, it starts at 4.5, whereas 1.1 all the way through. I don't know where those are unless. Yeah. But this document is the draft that was done since Gillette's time. 2021. So Sandy, this is the starting point. We're gonna use this.
Yeah, I got a file and then some Google Docs, so I printed one out for you to see. There are others like with Word docs that have some suggested changes, but I don't think those were ever put in there. So I just thought this would be a starting point, so you could see what we're working with.
Sandy, can you refresh our memory? How far did Gillette get with this? Besides, the structure that we're looking at, did it go any further than the draft we see?
Not much, no. There were some suggestions, but I don't think they were put in any more detail. But this is the correct format, because I think Francis Guerrero talked about in the past how they were starting from scratch, and then this is the form that's based on the existing law. And it only has to be changed enough to incorporate the new genres that were added. It was enough that it needed new policies and procedures, but a lot of these things can stay the same. You just have to make sure that they can all apply to performing arts, for example.
And probably no legal review yet of this, is that correct?
None.
Okay.
We'll go to the pages after we have a more firm draft.
Okay, great. So the good news is we have
Okay.
a framework.
I mean, when I just kind of opened it up real quick, I actually thought, like I said, it was more an art bank and that we were going to build something for the percent for the arts, but I see it now. Okay.
Arts. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it.
What direction would you like me to go now?
You can take it down, put the agenda back up.
Agenda, got it.
Okay. Anything else, Sandy, on your report or anything, any other questions for Sandy?
Who's
Yeah,
with Raleigh and Simone and Patty expiring, who's left?
So Raleigh and Simone will are up for extension, or 4-year extension. Monica's up.
But Frank, Mr. Ramon is on for a few more years? Or-
Yes,
And who else do we have left?
Who's on the board?
Or you'd have Donna, the mayor, Max, right?
Frank.
I'm good till December of 24, I believe.
Okay,
How about you, Max? What year are you up to?
I just.
Max
it's
just died.
me.
Excuse me, just for your information, I went there yesterday at their office and signed all the documents. And so they will prepare the everything for the renewal. Yeah. So I already paid the one for the police clearance, I think, or the court clearance. Yeah.
Okay, great. Should we move on to old business?
All right, would you like us to talk about the Mariana Islands International Folk and Dance Festival? Dance and Arts Festival, sorry. Okay, you can take this down, Mike. Is there something you wanted him to put up, Vince? for you?
Just the flyer, but he can also share screen with me and I can share just a little bit after the flyer. I can explain a little bit.
Okay, so the flyer.
I'm gonna share the flyer, but to be honest, I don't trust sharing screen with anybody else after we lost that last recording.
Oh,
Yeah, we had.
Oh, really? Seriously?
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
okay, all right, well, yeah, I just wanted, it's just a sample and it's a working schedule, but I can kind of go through verbally what's going on. Unless you want me to send it to you, like, I can share.
Mike, we lost audio.
We lost audio, we can hear you
Sorry.
through the wall.
Sorry, no, I just lost it. I had it. I was gonna put it up, but let me just find it real quick so you guys aren't looking at my screen. Where the hell did I put that thing? There you are.
Okay, so
Vince, before you begin, before you go through what you had planned, can you explain for all of us the relationship between MIDAF and CAHA?
well, meetup is CAHA's first signature event, or as far as I know. And the
First held when, or this will be the first?
I think this is the first. I don't know if there's ever been another one before. And so the intention for this is to create a platform and an event that will celebrate all artists, right? And what separates this from other festivals, or as far as I know, is that this will be in all genres and in all kinds. I am connected to the Federation of International Dance Festivals, which allows us to have a network of individuals, groups and countries to come to Guam. So the initial plan was to invite groups that would like to come here, and as well as celebrate our own local talents. So kind of the same way as Festback, except this would be more international. And so that's so CAHA is kind of the the head organization in organizing the event. Now, we have reached out to through Mayor Jesse's help, we reached out to the Mayor's Council. And we are partnering with them to celebrate the festivals in 3 different districts. So instead of one festival and everybody comes to our festival, we go out to them. And right now groups will, and I haven't gone into the calendar, but Mike, I just shared that with you so we can pop that up later. I shared that on a Google Drive. But right now the festival will start on, well, it says the 27th, but I think we realized that the dates were a little off. So which means that it's Dedido, which is the Friday, it's going to be 28th. Sinahanya, which is the 29th. And then Inarajan, which is on the 30th. In Dedido right now, there's the option. Mayor Savares offered a Stumbo Middle School, and Mayor Hoffman in Sinahanya offered Bishop Baumgartner, and then Inarajan is at the church grounds because they already have their festival going on. So we're just kind of dovetailing on it. Of course, there are many other things throughout the festival during that time that we'd like to do. So Mike, if you want, I'm gonna actually, let me do this. I'm gonna send Mike this. Sorry, Mike. I know that I should have given this to you earlier, but I'm gonna share this with you. This is kind of the overall intention and why we're thinking of doing what we're doing. So Mike, I sent you the pitch deck. If you get a chance, but we can, if anything, before we go into that, let's look at the general schedule. It's a working schedule.
Mike, are you there?
I'm muted. He's looking for it.
Okay, oh, that's very hard to see. Maybe I can go up and increase it.
Can you increase that, Mike, this side?
He has to.
Oh, okay.
He has to be the one, he's
Hopefully you guys can see this. So
Thank you, Mike.
thank you, Mike. This is just a general overview of what we're looking at for the week. So groups arrive on Wednesday, they have breakfast, they check in, hopefully have the press conference at that time. Then we go to Chamorro Village Night Market and we do a sharing over there. And then they're done for that day. Go ahead, Mike, up Thursday. So yeah, dates are up to. So on Thursday, we're hoping to have the government reception. That's where we'll do a gift exchange. And then they depart to workshops with the Guam Museum. Then they return to the hotel, and then we have a hotel sponsorship performance. Okay.
The Lieutenant Governor is committed to.
Yeah, the Lieutenant Governor has committed to work with us on the official government reception. And we're just hoping that there is a board member that can take lead on this, and we can ask that later. On Friday, we're hoping to have teaser shows and school presentations. And then we start our first main show in Dedido. Okay. Go ahead, next one. On Saturday, we depart, we have Saturday's show is in the afternoon, and that's in Sinahanya, so we just go there. And then we have a hotel sponsored performance 6, and then I just put an after party as an optional thing for many of the adults. Okay. On Sunday, we have the main show down in Inarajan, and that's at 7 p.m. And then on Monday is kind of their island-wide tour, and then their farewell get together, and then we're done. Okay, so so how are we doing this? Mike, if we can go to now the actual pitch deck that I just shared with you now. So we can talk about how we're doing this and then the funding and how that's all working so far. Or working out.
I only have the working schedule, brother.
You don't have the meetup, I'll just shut that now. Let me try. So we are working both, how we're doing this is we're working with Beyond the Reef Music Festival, which is an organization, an event planning organization. And so, let me try sending this again. And they are the ones handling all of the solicitations and all of the booking of the hotels and any kind of financial procurements that they need to do. So we just procured the event planner. And so we got 3 quotes or we sent out 3 invitations for bids. And Beyond the Reef was the one who came back with that, with their response. The 2 others declined the invitation.
Who were the other 2?
Steve Ruder from RIMS, I believe he's RIMS Technology, and then Norman Analista. That's Analyst and Company, or Filipino Community.
So, and they submitted,
They
They
did
sub-
not.
bids.
The 2 submitted declining the event, but they submitted in writing that they declined the event, or they declined the planning of the event. I will forward you the pitch deck, which shows the cost and how much, I think we shared that, right? Or is that part of the report, Sandy, the total cost of MENA?
No, those documents.
Okay, so again, the response, let me just try this again, one more time.
So Vince, the overall organization responsible for this event is CAHA?
Well, we're working closely with Beyond the Reef, and this is a blurb that I need more definition of how this works, because again, my advisement from people that I spoke to, like the Guam Museum, when they handled their events, they actually contracted all of that event out. They did the same thing, so I just followed what they did for an event that they just put together. So we are overall planning it, but Beyond the Reef is basically working with us on it. So I don't know if that makes sense. So what Guam Museum said was that they had an event and it was too difficult for them for all the procurement that they needed to do, so they procured the event planner. So I just followed that advisement. And I just did that.
And we did that last month with the approval of 10,000 from West Staff funding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just mentioning this for the board members in case they forgot.
So
And
in
so-
other words, if you hire Beyond the Reef, they don't have to go through procurement?
That's now on them. So
They're on
all
fiscal
financial responsibilities like hotels and all that stuff now is on them. So we just hired them to do the event. So it's still a CAHA signature event. And that's my understanding. Again, I'm new at this being here, and I can do this in the nonprofit side and at the DOE side.
No, we know this, so what happens, Donna, for example, is that we get a cash sponsorship, like we did from GVB. And GVB writes that to Beyond the Reef as part of their spending, and then pays off the expenses.
Yeah,
So it
so-
doesn't go, yeah.
So hotels and transportation or whatever needs to be paid, that's paid through Beyond the Reef, not through CAHA.
So how much have they raised?
Right now, we have a 15,000 commitment from, what's the total amount? I know Sandy, you did it,
15,000 from DFS. Is it 5 from Bank of Guam?
5 from Bank of Guam,
And there was a 10?
at 39, I think projected at this
39.
point, 39,000.
39 out of, it was supposed to be something like 80, 85?
Yeah, so 39 cash, that doesn't include the 80, it included all the others that were not bartered. So we're hotels, for example, right now, Subaki and Nico are still in consideration. Dusitani, we have commitment from GHRA to work directly with trying to get all our hotels taken care of. That's Mary Paulino, Mary Rhodes. And Wyndham has verbally committed to 10 plus and 10 rooms, and we're hoping to barter or source out the 7. So as far as hotels, we are very close to honing in on all sponsored hotels. If not, then
And the hotel price was like 16,000.
yeah,
So that's another
16,000.
16,000.
Yeah.
Donated.
So now we're at 55.
So, and then of course, we, for transportation, we have reached out to Kloppenberg, and we're hoping that we can again shave that cost down even further. But we do understand that there is a business, so we are opening the lines of communication as to what is the parameters in which they can offer. With the mayors, our goal is for them to also to really take ownership of this festival in their village, and this is why we're hoping to work closely with Mayor Jesse, that this is really an event that their village can really embrace versus just putting us on, you know, here's a school, just go there, right? But that we hope that they embrace it the same way as they did with FestPac, where, you know, we have vendors, we have arts exhibits, and the staff are going to be working with the artists to bring art exhibits over to each 3 sections. So so as far as cost is concerned, we're shaving it down as much as possible. For example, even with meals, we already got verbal commitments from Indus Cafe to sponsor some of the meals, as well as Pika's Cafe, or the deli, the market deli. And they have also helped, they're also helping to shave off some of the, you know, to pay some of the meals. The mayors also offered to pay for some of the meals during the actual festival when they are there at the community. Now, it's one thing that's really, really special is that for this particular festival, it's this once in a lifetime kind of opportunity for many of the musicians on island. A lot of these musicians are all coming together specifically for the festival. So you have a lot of signature bands like the John Dank Show, KPB and Kiku, Taj, all of these bands that are real hot, including people like singers like Joe Burrito. All these guys are coming together for this weekend's performances. So that's really, I think, going to be the draw. And our goal again is not for one festival where people come to us, but we go out to them. And this is really a way for us to really engage. Now, we are finalizing and fine tuning everything in the next week or so, because we have to move on. We have, you know, we move on to the final planning. Bulgaria is already, all visas are already set. We're now working closely. Well, there's not much we can do as far as customs and quarantine, customs and immigration. We just got to be able to send the name list to them so they are aware, and that, you know, things need to happen where it needs to happen with them. But all visas from Bulgaria are already set. We're working on the final travel arrangements. And then also Korea is also on its way. They're also set with their travel arrangements. So I'm particularly working closely with these countries to make sure that they come here, we go in, and they leave, you know, safely. So yeah, I think that's in a nutshell what we're doing. Mike, did you get the pitch deck? I know it is.
Let me check. Sorry, I'm trying to get your banners done.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, see, so I'm trying to get banners because ready by tomorrow. Okay.
So just, you know, just for the record, and you need to get with operations.
Right.
Because anything I do is gonna be comp. I can't do all of it, so I
Okay.
can't take any, I can't benefit from
Okay,
this.
sure.
So that, we need to nail that down.
Sure.
There's a lot of moving parts here.
Okay.
So, and I don't have access to that. I mean,
Okay.
I
So
could,
I
I
don't
guess.
want to. Yeah.
Sorry, Vince, I don't have it on both personal or the CAHA email.
I don't know if you want to share, but basically
Oh,
it's
yeah,
the same
yeah,
thing. It just kind of talks about some of the things in the events, which I kind of already shared with you. It's just a nicer visual. So it's okay. Yeah, that's where we're at right now with Meetup. So the ask for the board is that if we can take on, on top of Meetup, what's happening is we have representatives from NEA and NEH and WestApp that are all coming in around the same time, and it's because of Meetup that sparked the interest of no, that's not it. So it's because of Meetup that sparked the interest of WestApp, who then started to bring in and or started to engage NEA and NEH representatives. When we met with the NEH chair, she was committed, and we established that relationship with her, that she's committed to come to Guam, maybe not for this festival, but for future festivals or future opportunities. So that was an in on our part. So that kind of upped the ante on our end to make sure and ensure that we have a program that's worthy of them coming and showcasing again our artist community. So yeah, that's where we're at.
How many from my staff, where is that?
West Staff is not, West Staff delegation will be running their own
Okay.
tour and their own schedule, which they're working closely with Sandy directly. And
Okay.
Sandy is the one that's gonna connect all of the dots with the Meetup Festival and West Staff. There's about 17, Sandy, what's the delegation number?
Oh, no, I have that full agenda item.
Okay, we'll stop here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Vince. I have to say, I'm excited. This is something that's being done in other countries around the world to be off, and I'm really proud to be bringing this to Guam, and it's not easy, and it's our first time, but I'm really happy we're embarking on it. Thank you, Vince.
Can I ask a question, Vince?
Yes,
Patty? If that's okay?
yes,
Are you done with your presentation?
yes.
Okay, so you mentioned that you, I guess, or Sandy, met with the Lieutenant Governor to coordinate the official GovGuam reception. Is the Lieutenant Governor or the Governor's office going to be paying for that reception? You know?
That's our ask. Our ask to him is, can they sponsor the reception? Because what has happened in the past with other festivals which is the same as this one, except I did it on my own, just as my little nonprofit. But I did, the other festivals was sponsored by, at that time, the First Lady. So and so they sponsored the meal and they sponsored the official reception for that day. And so our ask to the Lieutenant Governor's office is if they can sponsor the meal and the day, but we just need like a board member to kind of connect the dots, like make sure that all the people that we need to invite are there, because this official reception will also include the NEA folks. So and we're talking about just a luncheon, not a dinner a big soiree, because if DFS does come on, we probably have the opening night at DFS outside, and they're willing to do all the production for that. So that's exciting because that's also Golden Week. So, but to go back to that question, we asked the governor, the Lieutenant Governor, he's supposed to assign a liaison, but he was off island. So we are hoping to find out this week who that is. We might just ask Rigel because, you know, he's there now, and we're hoping that he can, and he's familiar with these past festivals. So yes, our goal is to ask them to pay for the entire meal.
And is it our goal to provide meals for all of the participating performers for all 4 days, for all 3 meals a day?
No, for, well, our goal overall as CAHA, yes, our goal is to try to get all the meals taken care of.
Which is
So-
the standard for a feed up.
Yeah, which is standard. For us, our goal is to try to get everything paid, but again, if we can't get, everything's sponsored. Whatever is left in the next couple of weeks will determine how much, we'll then have to just pay out or Beyond the Reef would have to pay out for meals. So if anyone has any contacts for meals is willing to sponsor, please let us know.
Okay, and we're estimating average cost per meal for all participants?
It's 35. Yeah, $35 a day. Let me just pull up the budget real quick. So.
Yeah, I remember seeing the budget. It just said.
Yeah, well, total meals is about 16,800. That at that time was projected for 80 packs. So we're definitely shaving off of that one.
What is our count now?
Right now for the guests, I think we're at 50 now, 50 packs. Because the visiting delegates is at 34. Visiting delegates are 34 plus volunteers. Then that's why we went 50 at a high, 40 at a low.
So when you say visiting delegates, is that strictly so we're not gonna have anybody from CNMI coming in for this meetup?
No, we decided not to have CNMI for this round, and CNMI also did not offer us to go there too. Because the goal was to have us go there to bring a delegation to CNMI for their part, and then we were supposed to go, never supposed to bring there, but because of cost, they also only are allowing one group, and we have two groups on our end, and so no, CNMI is not coming this year, but our hope is next year.
Okay. That's all I got.
Thanks, Mayor.
Bids?
Yes.
Would you be able to give us I need to see can we see the program itself? Because can we have a print up for that one?
Yes, I can send it to you. I can send it is a draft though, because it's really working. We're, you know, as you know, it's still on draft, but it's the most updated.
Yes.
I can.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, anything else for events?
Oh, you know, one more thing, just so I have it clear in my mind. So Beyond the Reef is basically responsible for all of the expenses from this point forward, and basically building off of the event planner's fee that we're providing
Yes.
to host, to run the event, that we are basically using as a signature event for CAHA, and that you indicated that if they don't have the funds or raise the funds to cover all of the costs, which is hotel basically, and food, if we have to provide feeding for the participants, that they are going to ultimately end up eating that cost.
Yes, that's actually set on our contract,
And not CAHA.
not CAHA. But CAHA needs to make sure that they have but CAHA needs to make sure that they're fed. So we don't, at the end of the day, they are financially responsible, but we just want to make sure that the experience is good, because this is our event.
Yeah, but when you say we need to make sure that they're fed, then if we don't get somebody to say provide breakfast for them on a particular day, that means we have to come up with the money to pay for a breakfast at maybe the hotel or at a venue that we decide to have them eat at before they move on to their next agenda item.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, ultimately the contract says Beyond the Reef will take care of all coordination and including all financial responsibilities. That's why they can also go after sponsorships so that they can offset those costs. So by contract, we don't have any financial responsibility, but because this is our event, we want to make sure that they're fed and that there's no complaint to the federation or things like that, or to.
I understood that. I understand that. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, just one thing. So we have pledged money, but do they actually have the money?
Right now,
Or just pledged?
it's just pledged. All the commitment letters though, it's just in their final signatures. So the commitment letters, the ones, so DFS, Bank of Guam, all commitment letters went up to them. Now they're just waiting for we're waiting for their signatures to come back. That's it. So, but all of those letters of commitment went up. We're also drafting one for the mayors, so that we just need to know what exactly they can and cannot do. So that give us this week and we can get a more concrete, our goal is this week and next week to secure all of that. Because we're down to about a month right after next week, so it's getting close.
Bids, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
If I find something like the one who wants to sponsor the food, how many people are we going to feed for? Because guarantee they will ask for how many?
Sure, we're asking for 40 packs. 40
40.
packs
Okay.
at the low. If they can give the staff will be there all day, that'll be good too, and board, so.
Okay.
40 to feed, but you just told me 50 for
Oh, shoot.
moving people around.
50.
Yeah,
Sorry.
50.
Let's do 50.
That's important because there's buses that hold 35,
Yes,
45,
yeah,
50,
yes.
you know.
yeah. Donna, Ms. Donna, we won't go past 50 on the buses. The buses for the delegates themselves is only 34
Okay,
for the delegates themselves, plus 236. 36 for the buses, only because the guides as well, the guides, the translators, the people that's gonna help them.
okay.
So if 40 works for you, that's number 4, transportation.
Well, I think I've got several different sizes.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
I'm just trying to figure out, you know, but like I said, you gotta get with my operations.
Okay,
Because
got it.
I don't have all that.
Okay, all right, I will. Okay.
Okay.
Raleigh, is that okay?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Let's see, fiscal 24 budget.
Yes, thank you, Patty. That'll be me. I just want to note that it's 4:25 and the staff is signed up for a required procurement training, which I'm really happy about. But they need to leave at 5:15 to prepare for that.
And I need my email, so if I shut down,
Okay, and then just the way that this is set up technically, they'll cause issues if we go over 5:15. So I just want to keep that in mind. There are some things that we need to vote on and other things we just needed to bring attention to, and so I'll try to direct that somewhat. So with respect to the FY 24 budget, we have a couple of months at least to get your feedback on this. Of course, the sooner the better, but you've been provided a copy of the latest draft that was approved. So a couple of things I want to note on that. One is in this draft, this incorporates the 22% increase that is now that is now what do you call it?
Effective law, it's law.
I'm trying to,
Trying to get to. It's
I
not
think it
passed
is
yet.
law, but
No.
it's just no.
Yeah,
just waiting for the funding
Yeah.
to be released.
Yeah, it's just waiting for funding. But at the same time, it doesn't show any additional funds to cover that, which I believe will go hand in hand. So in a way, it's a theoretical budget. Just keep that in mind. Our ceiling is the same as last year, and yet we're trying to incorporate the 22% increase there. I think for the board's purposes, the thing to look at is, let's see what page that is. Toward the end, Schedule B, contractual. So in a nutshell, the NEH funding that we get is matched with local funds. And the first priority for that funding is salaries and benefits, and then grants, and then rent. So all of that is eaten up in the NEH funds and the matching government funds. And so what we have to work with really is what is referred to as the overmatch. And the local overmatch, meaning it's funding, local funding that is beyond what is matched to the federal funding. So if you look at Schedule B, these are the kind of things that are somewhat discretionary, some more than others. For example, the Xerox lease, we have to have that, but board training or business development, those things not so much. And you can, self-explanatory, you can look at some things. Rent is not negotiable, but there's different categories here that you can look at and make some adjustments or suggestions about. And then the other item that I think that's important is toward the top, there is a organizational chart. So what's new for FY 24 is that I'm trying to add a position of a PC2. A PC2 that specifically has like reporting skills and could be someone who pays special attention to our programs as to our federal programs, and we could assign doing those federal program reports to, because those are very time consuming it's not practical to divide that up among different PCs because it takes this focus, it takes this chunk of time and it takes some special skill. So I think it would greatly improve our operations if that was just something that we knew someone was assigned to in that PC2 position. So again, looking at the organizational chart for FY 2024, you'll see that in there. And then that will be reflected in towards the end of the budget in the staffing pattern, the proposed staffing pattern. And I suggest that we table the board's recommendations and conversation about this until the next meeting when you've had more time to look at it and those items in particular.
We need a motion for that, yes? To table the discussion on the fiscal year 24 budget. I so move that we table discussion on the fiscal year 24 budget until next meeting.
Do I have a second?
I second Simone.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Say aye. Aye. Okay, any opposed? Okay, so moved. Okay, and we have the ratification of expenditures.
Anybody can comment on that? What expenditures these are?
Would you like me to?
Or is it somewhere?
He has that. So to clarify, we're talking about, there was one decision that was made offline. Expenditures were approved out of the revolving fund offline, and to ratify that decision in this meeting.
Well,
Can we clarify what those are? Is it the 10,000 to meet up? Is that one of them?
It was.
it was the travel. For September travel, it was the Beyond the Reef, and it was the Chamorro Cultural Festival.
There were 3 items, Donna, correct. For your information, based on advice I got from Mayor Gogui, although you did approve the travel to meet off in September, I took that off the table. Even though we have approval, I've decided we're not going to do that. That's we're going to have our West Ave partners invest in that, and so we don't have to worry about being concerned about retroactive.
Yeah, and just for clarification purposes, and yes, I'm the one who recommended to Sandra that we really think hard about asking the board to actually approve something that we don't have the authority to do. Retroactive travel reimbursement is not authorized in Guam law for any reason. And so, so if we went ahead and did that and we were audited, we would be found as a governing board in violation of procurement law and travel, the travel regulations.
We have not done that.
Yeah, and so, even though we have correspondence via email, what Sandy is saying is that the West Half is going to go ahead and do the reimbursement events and not CAHA, correct?
Correct.
So what remains is the 2 other ones. That's the travel authorization that you just recently took, Sandy, right? Or was that Vince?
It's upcoming this week, in fact, tomorrow.
Oh, okay. And then the Beyond the Reef, the 10,000.
You just approved the deposit of 5,000.
Oh, the budget wasn't approved, or just the deposit?
We're gonna do that hopefully today.
Okay,
You mean we're gonna pay for it in full or they've completed their contract?
No, we're just gonna agree that on those budgeted items. We won't actually.
so we're ratifying a payment of 5,000, and then later on, we're going to approve a budget of 10?
Another 5, yeah.
Well, today, right now, what we're doing is we're ratifying the board's decision to approve $5,000 as a deposit for Beyond the Reef and 3,700 and change, do you have that accepted? For up to $3,700 for Vince's travel to the Chamorro Cultural Fest.
Okay. So I think we need a specific motion then for each individual one that we're voting on. There were 2 different. So what we're voting on now is the you want to ratify the 5,000 that's already been approved. And the money for the travel that's happening tomorrow.
Or do you just ratify, there was one vote, and so do you ratify that one vote?
We can't ratify one vote if we're taking something out. We already took out something. If you ratify it, then that's included in what we voted on. We've struck that, so it has to be specific.
Yeah, Donna's correct. Sandy, Donna is correct. Yeah, what you got via email is different from what we're doing here. So we need to address each individual one as an independent motion, rather than ratifying what was approved via email.
Madam Chair, I move for the appropriation of 3737 for airfare 5 days in San Diego for Chamorro Cultural Fest. And Sandy, who's travel?
For Vince Regis.
For Vince Regis. Which is a reaffirmation of approval that we've done previously by email.
What's the correct amount? We have a difference here.
3737 is what
No, it's
was
supposed to be-
presented.
Isn't it supposed to be 32.75?
I think you're looking at the
This is,
Oh, what?
previous.
Oh, because he's going through Narita.
No.
Because like,
there's a budget here for 3279.39 for
That's from September, right? That's the
That's-
one we're not allowed to do.
So that
Is
was
that, okay, so that, cross
That's
that
the
out.
one we're not
Okay,
allowed to
so
do.
we are removing that. We are voting on $3,737 for the Chamorro Cultural Festival, the last Saturday in March. That's what we're voting on.
started.
Yes, ma'am. That's my motion.
That's his motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I move that we appropriate from the revolving fund 5,000 to the MEDAC event planner Beyond the Reef as a deposit for the upcoming festival in the end of April. As previously agreed upon via email.
okay, is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Frank. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move that we forego the percent for the arts update as it was already been done via the executive director's report.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, great, thanks. Motion carries.
Do you still need to do the notes and comments?
No, let's just.
We're going to have to table that because Joey prepared it, but then he couldn't be here, so can we table that to the next meeting as
I
well?
move that we table the Hilton fundraiser report until next meeting.
Okay.
I
Okay, there's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Excuse me, ma'am. Who seconded that?
It was Max, I believe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Who made a motion?
Donna. Donna moved, I second.
Okay. Next item, I think do we have one more under old business?
We do.
Is that it? Is that
That's
it? Okay, all right. So I don't have the agenda there, so there we go. Thank you. Okay, new business. Sandy, you want to kind of go through these as quickly as we can?
Yeah, I'm suggesting that two resolutions be proposed. That one is to recognize the service of Francis Guerrero as our longtime chair and member. Well, let's start with that, and then I will suggest the second.
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that a resolution be prepared, recognizing Francis Guerrero's contribution to CAHA, and him finishing up as the chair of the board.
I'll second that.
Now, Sandy, are you gonna draft this resolution?
Yes, yeah. Yes, we will. Step forward.
Okay, well, it would have been easy for us if we could have seen a draft resolution to approve. But yeah, I mean, as long as somebody's gonna draft it, but yeah, I'm in support of doing a resolution, so that's my motion.
Thank you, and I think I heard Donna chime in as a second.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. Revolving fund, Sandy?
Oh,
I'm
this is-
sorry.
Oh, sorry, you had another resolution, sorry.
So I'd like to suggest that the board provide a resolution that adopts the National Indigenous Performing Arts Initiative as a signature CAHA program.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll motion to approve the resolution to make NEPA, right? A official CAHA program. Is that correct?
One.
Okay, second?
Before I second the motion, this event is gonna be annually, right, Sandy?
Well, that's NEDOF, but NEPA is a larger initiative that goes beyond just that one festival. So it'll include like sending our performers off island, not just bringing them on.
Oh, okay, so.
Yeah, well, but you know, it
First,
might be, if I can chime, it just might be simpler, Sandy, if you can just draft a resolution that we can take a look at and then consider at our next meeting. because we're adopting a resolution that's not even drafted yet, and not even a number assigned, that typically, when, for me anyways, when I present resolutions to my MPC, they're already drafted, resolution numbers already assigned to it, et cetera, et cetera. And so they consider what's actually written and approving, and then they tweak what was drafted or written and what I'm proposing to them for their approval. Here, we're just
Details.
conceptually approving.
Okay,
So can we just table this?
I move that we table the second
No,
resolution.
no, we have Simone already making a motion, unless she withdraws or nobody wants to second.
I'll
it.
withdraw. I'll withdraw the motion. I feel like that's a sound recommendation from the mayor.
but can I take from this conversation that the board is willing to consider a resolution?
Absolutely. I mean, Sandy, typically for me, and I do probably 20 resolutions a year. So when I have an idea or when I have an idea or something that needs my MPC, my Municipal Planning Council's approval, I will let them know that I'm planning to draft a resolution, and this is something we're looking at. And unless I get a lot of negatives, I'll go ahead and draft it and then have it available for them to actually review and read before the next meeting, and even assigning a number to it. And the only time I have to resequence resolutions, if there's a resolution that they looked at and they didn't want to approve, and then there's other draft resolutions after that, then I end up resequencing the numbers. But normally a resolution that I submit to them, they're well in advance aware that that's something I'm proposing to do. And you don't have any objections from us in doing it, but it would be better that it's already drafted and a number already assigned to it for our review and approval.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so
We need-
I don't think anybody objects to us having a relationship with NEPA.
Wonderful.
Is there anything, excuse me, because I know we are on a time crunch here with staff, so can we move ahead just to have the election of new officers? Or is there something that we absolutely have to do, because it's already 10 to 5, so.
I'd like to also affirm that comment from Madam Donna.
We don't have any officers once Patty's gone, so I think we have to do that right away.
Right, so I think
Yeah.
Ms. recommended that we have interim officers, but the public law doesn't say we have to have interim. We should just have officers, and then if somebody decides to withdraw.
But we still have, yeah. Max, I just suggest we just finish this up. We have a motion on the floor to table the resolution for NEPA and await a actual draft resolution from Sandra before we actually go ahead and move forward with approving a resolution for NEPA. And so I'd say the motion is to table that particular item for the next meeting.
Who moved?
And then we can move on.
Okay,
I'll
is there-
second, or I'll make the motion. Who did it?
I made the motion to table.
I'll make it wherever you want.
Okay, so the mayor's made a motion, Donna second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed? Okay, then if we could move on. And as Donna mentioned, if we could move to the, I think you're proposing, Donna, that we move to the election.
Can I just clarify something though? So the purpose of the agenda item NEPA programming budget was a suggestion of the board that rather than having to go for every single financial decision to the board, that we would, you would consider a budget. And then that way it would just be a matter of reporting on the budget items being, occurring, right? So just understand that if we don't do the programming budget, then we're going to have to come to you for any, for example, if beyond the reef needs to be paid the final amount. We'll just have to have the response of the board offline, out of the meetings that could be ratified later. So just to set out that expectation.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, we shouldn't, if we have an April meeting, I'm assuming we need one because we have this big event. We wouldn't be paying them, because they,
Well,
they
that's
have
just
to-
an example.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
So I think we need, because this is a published agenda, I move that due to time restrictions with our staff, that we revisit revolving fund NEPA program budget and the other agenda items until our next meeting to move forward with election of officers.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
So Max mentioned, it doesn't say anything about interim, but it doesn't say we can't do interim. I mean,
It does not
because
say.
obviously we're gonna have some new board members coming. in.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So,
is-
and we have to have officers, I
Right.
mean, we have to, so that has to get done. So whatever we decide to do,
As a board, I mean, if somebody
I'm
can
certainly
just,
not gonna fight with anybody or.
we don't put expirations on who we elect today, but if somebody volunteers to step down after new board members come on board, then that's up to the person who got elected.
Say that again, Max. I didn't catch what you just said.
So there is no provision in the enabling legislation about temporary board members. So
Correct?
so we elect board officers, and that if
Right.
when new board members come on board and if somebody wants to step down as an officer, they can. But it's not
Correct.
a-
That is
Because the-
correct.
board needs leadership.
Okay,
That is correct.
should we, Sandy, how do you want to handle this? Should we take any nominations from the floor, or did you want to talk about anything else before we do that?
No, I don't have anything else to discuss. So it'll be up to you.
Okay, all right, so do we have any nominations on the floor? And we're looking for all three positions, correct, Sandy?
That's correct.
Okay,
My suggest is we start with the chairman and work our way down from there.
okay, so any nominations for chairman or chairperson, I should say?
I'd like to nominate. So am I recognized to make a nomination, Patty?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'd like to nominate Donna Kloppenberg to be chair of the CAHA board.
Nobody seconded that.
Okay,
Donna, are you okay with that?
Sure. I'll do it.
okay.
I second it.
Okay,
Is anybody gonna second my motion? Or my nomination?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Frank.
okay. And are there any other nominations? Or do we go ahead and vote on that first?
No. There's, so does anybody want to does anybody else want to make a nomination? So if there are no indications of nominations, then I'd like to move to close the nominations, Patty.
Okay, and is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, so all in favor of closing the nominations, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye. Any opposed? Okay, so we have congratulations, Donna. Donna as the chairperson. Okay, so next we have, I guess, we're going to do the treasurer next then? Is that what we have?
Vice Chair?
Vice chair? Okay, vice chair. All right. Vice chair. Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
Well, I would like to reciprocate and nominate Mayor Gobley the vice chair.
Well, you don't want me to be the vice chair. I'll tell you what, I take something less formal. I'll take secretary treasurer, but let somebody else be the vice chair.
Okay, I'll withdraw my motion.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Is there a motion for, or nomination for vice chair?
Yes, I will nominate Frank Rabon as vice chair.
Thank you for that honor, but I like to decline I want to be, with the schedules that I have, I really would prefer to be a contributing board member of CAHA.
Okay, so if in fact we can't get Frank or myself to be the vice chair, I'd like to make a motion and ask that if Max would be willing to be the vice chair for the CAHA board.
I'll second that.
Second.
Max, are you interested?
I accept.
I already seconded it. You can't.
Okay.
All right,
Any
so-
other nominations? Okay, no other nominations. Then, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to close the nominations for the position of vice chair.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, that came from Frank. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, okay. Any opposed? Okay, congratulations, Max. You are the vice chair.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, and then I think,
Congratulations.
what do we have next then? Is it the secretary? Is that correct?
Yes, secretary and or treasurer.
Okay,
I move to nominate Mayor Gogui for secretary.
I'll second that.
okay. Mayor, will you accept?
Of course, I'll accept.
Okay. All right. So would someone like to make a motion to close the nominations?
I'll motion to close the nominations.
Okay, that's Simone. Thank you, Simone. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Raleigh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. Any opposed? Okay, congratulations,
And so-
Mayor.
Yeah,
I
thank
believe-
you. So we haven't had a treasurer on this board since I've been on this board. I really think it would behoove us to have a treasurer that can work with the staff on trying to organize our reports and make them standardized. And I will help do the minutes and stuff like that. So I'd like to nominate Simone to be the treasurer.
She is
Or-
expired.
I'm
She's
expiring. I'm also.
Yeah, but I thought you were
under-
gonna renew.
I am, but I have to decline. I have too much stuff going on right now, and treasurer is not my forte at all. And so I don't think I would do justice to the position. I'm sorry.
We don't have Raleigh? Are you
No.
interested?
Sorry, no. It's okay. thank
Simone,
you.
if we made you treasurer, as secretary, would you be willing to do that? And I could be the treasurer?
What are the, what are, I think I have,
Can I just clarify that the legislation just requires the 3?
Yeah. Yeah.
At the bare minimum?
Yeah.
And we could
Yeah,
probably.
but that doesn't mean we shouldn't have a fourth. I think if we can get an extra body to help out the staff on organizing, and standardizing our reports, for these meetings, it would go a long way. And so, you know what I'm saying, is that there are, and what it makes my meetings go fast. When because I provide standardized reports that the MPC can look at, and it's consistent, and they can go to, key parts of the report and look for things that, because that's where it's supposed to be. It just makes things a lot easier for them. And so, and same thing with the minutes. If we can just create a standardized format for the minutes and be guided by a board member. Because I think the staff is the one that actually does the transcribing of the minutes, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and we just get somebody in there to assist with, reviewing it for accuracy and then, and making sure that the transcription or how it's formatted is consistent for every single board meeting. That would just go a long ways for us and reviewing the documents we need to review and address at these board meetings. So Simone, I'm just reaching out to you. You're a great writer. If I step down as the secretary, would you be interested in taking on that job?
Would that be the only requirement? I mean, because I think that if Mike is it Mike who's going to be taking minutes
The
instead of like
transcribing, yeah,
revolving?
you're going to
But
be
I
doing
think-
the editing.
I mean, I can, but I also think that if one person is doing the minutes, then there will be standardization, or I mean, there should be, right? He can just use the same format each time.
Yeah, but
but
you'll provide some editing, feedback to whoever transcribes.
And that's the only, before every meeting, review the minutes, edit.
Yeah.
That's the requirement of the position.
Generally, yeah.
Just do it and we'll clarify it later.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can do it. I'll do it.
Okay, I'd like to step down as secretary for CAHA.
Mr. Mayor, before you do that, I do have to just advise that since her term is expiring, we can't get ahead of the legislature and assume she will.
Absolutely, but she has 3 extra months, 90 days after her expiration, if the governor and the legislature doesn't replace her. So if her term expires at the end of this month, she can remain and perform her duties as a secretary for the 3 months that she's, waiting to be confirmed, correct?
For the next 10 days, Mayor?
No, I mean, her term ends, your term expires this month, Simone?
Her 3-month extension from December ends this month.
I think what he's saying is that she's already almost down to her 90 days, which will be.
Oh, I thought she was, her term actually ended this month and then she has 90 days.
Oh, unfortunately, you can't step down because you've already been elected and.
Yeah, so I'll stay. And we'll just table we'll just table a treasurer and I'll try to work with the staff on formatting this report.
But we do, so this is, so for clarification purposes, so our term will start, is it starting today or does it start as of the next meeting, and when is that? What is it, do we start today?
So if Robert's rules of
No,
order
you have
now-
to be sworn in. So you have to be sworn in. I can do the swearing in. Oh, I can't because I'm one of the officers. But we need somebody who's has the authority to swear in board members. And
Huh?
Why don't you just vote Chris Martin?
Yeah, if we have to be sworn in, maybe we can get our oversight to swear us in. But I've never, I don't know if I've been an
Yeah,
officer.
we haven't done that before, Mayor,
Yeah.
according to the staff. Just take.
Yeah,
Just passing that on.
if we're just following just regular Robert's rules of order.
You're supposed to.
Your term starts the moment you're elected, so today.
Yeah, so congratulations, Tom. You're it.
No,
come back.
Can we just say thank you to Patty?
Did we get that? Make sure Mike gets that interim in there.
Yeah, thank you, Patty, for leading
Well,
us
Patty,
today.
thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Oh, you bet.
Miss
Yep,
you.
Congratulations to all the new officers.
Thank you to
All right.
Simone as well, and
Yes,
we
congratulations.
nominated and confirmed to the board in the next few months. Looking forward to working with you. It's
Thank
been
you.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, Sandy, do we have anything else? Are we ready to conclude the meeting?
We just have announcements.
Okay,
Okay, anybody have announcements?
No, can you announce when the next meeting is?
Next meeting is April 11th
April
I can
11th.
resend out the calendar of events, which I usually do, but I didn't send it out this time, but you all have a copy of it, but I will send out the new calendar of events. Yes, April 11th is the next meeting.
So just to clarify, so that means that our announcement will go into.
1 week out.
We got it tabled.
It will go out
Okay,
to the
okay.
paper on March 31st. It would be printed on April 4th and April 7th.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm on.
You're very welcome.
I have it.
One added thing, if I may, Sandy, we mentioned that the error on the publishing of the agenda was the fault of the paper, right? And so we didn't pay for that error, did we?
We're still trying to figure that out. They're contesting that now. Based on the fact that they did provide a proof and it wasn't caught then, but yeah, so we may have to
It'll
actually,
be $75.
$75, yeah.
Okay,
Is that what we're paying, the Post is $75
No,
an ad?
Usually like if there's a correction or a special request, it's 75 additional to the publishing. So that's what the last one I saw for Guam Daily Post, it was like $75 additional to what's charged for the regular ad.
Okay,
Okay, any other announcements?
Ms. Patty, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Okay, is
I
there a
second.
second?
I second.
Great, thank you, Simone. There's a second. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye, great. Thank you,
Thank you,
Sandy.
Patty.
It was a lot to
Patty, thank you.
cover. Yep, thanks to all the board members. We got through that with a lot of material. So thank you so much, and everyone have a good evening.
Thank
Yes.
you. Goodbye.
Bye.
but
Is Monica?
I'm not sure.
Yes, thank you, Monica.
Can you stop the recording so that I can log out?